They hit big shots. The Clippers have no identity.
What do you say? What do you know? It's the full Monte Sports Show. Yes, I got dressed up for Halloween, trying to make myself look as scary as possible with my beautiful hair. Thanks to my sister for doing my makeup. It is Halloween, October 31st, 2021. I am your host, Monte Perez, aka the Sports Whisperer. Want to thank everyone for tuning in last week. We had Gus Frerotte on, former NFL quarterback. Gus Frerott's actually going to be joining us probably every other week to come on the show, at least twice a month. Did a tremendous job. We had 35 states watch across the country. Our goal is to do this 5 days a week, and we can only do that with your help. So if you like this show, tell one friend, tell one family member. Make sure to subscribe to the Nuts and Bolts YouTube channel and also give us the thumbs up. We have the best guests all across the country. This week is no exception. In about 15 minutes, John Meyer is going to join us. He's going to talk Kansas City Chiefs. Are they a AFC East, AFC division contender? Then we're going to have Alex Scooby join us. He's going to talk about the Dolphins and also his new Zen AF TV show. And then George Lopez is subbing in for Rico Show Me the Money Graziano. Rico is in Disneyland right now with his wife, Melissa, and his son. So Rico will not be joining us. So George is going to be talking fantasy football. He's going to tell us what games to bet on. This is going to be a good one. George, sub it in. I'm sure he's going to do a tremendous job. Every time George comes on, he's just a plethora of knowledge. So grateful for him for subbing in. We start this show each week with the good, the bad, and the funny. Let's start with the good and the bad. I'm doing a little combo platter here for the good and the bad. So, Roger Goodell, the commissioner of the NFL, Roger Goodell has made, over the past 2 years, $128 million. $128 million. This is during a pandemic. This is when fans' revenue was decimated because Roger Goodell is the commissioner of the NFL. And over the last 2 years, he has made $128 million. Now, I have no problem with anyone making the most money they can. But let's just look how the NFL is thriving. I mean, let's be honest here. The Jets are terrible, big market city. The Giants are terrible, big market city. The Bears struggling, haven't been to a Super Bowl in a long time. So what are we talking about here? Roger Goodell's making $128 million. And we're seeing people now, my dad's generation, some of my friends, they say the same thing. I'm not going to watch the NFL. These guys are overpaid. Jerry Jones is worth $10 billion. $10 billion. Does anyone ever say Jerry Jones is overpaid? Babe Ruth in 1930, Babe Ruth signed a deal, a contract. 2 years, $160,000, $80,000 a year. No one ever said Babe Ruth was overpaid. Why is it that Roger Goodell can make $128 million in 2 years and players still got to fight for more benefits? Players still got to fight for making the game safer. Players still have to fight to prove that they have CTE. No one ever says, I'm not watching the NFL because Jerry Jones makes $10 billion is worth $10 billion. No one ever says Roger Goodell is making $128 million in 2 years. Hell, I'm not watching the NFL. But the minute an African American player sits out for more money, all the fans are like, they make too much, spoiled athletes. $128 million in 2 years. Why couldn't the NFL pay him $100 million and give those $28 million to the families whose players have died because of complications playing football? $128 million. Why couldn't Roger Goodell make 100 and we say, hey, we're going to pay all our employees who were out of work because of COVID and we didn't have a fan base to purchase items? The hypocrisy or racism, I don't know which one, but the hypocrisy of these fans, he makes too much money. Are you going to stop watching because Roger Goodell, who's never played a down in the NFL, runs the NFL, making $128 million in 2 years? I'm tired of the hypocrisy. I'll never forget the time one of my dad's friends, his favorite player of all time was Lawrence Taylor. And when Colin Kaepernick was kneeling, he said, he's a scumbag. Colin Kaepernick, he's like, Lawrence Taylor would always hold his hand over his heart and sing the national anthem. I said, oh, Lawrence Taylor, you mean the guy who has had 3 or 4 domestic violence against him? You mean the guy who didn't pay his taxes and got heavily fined because he didn't pay his taxes? Or Lawrence Taylor, the guy who proposed an underage prostitute? Or Lawrence Taylor, the guy who got drunk and hit a police car with a policeman in it in Florida? That Lawrence Taylor? That's your point of reference? When Colin Kaepernick is simply kneeling down in peaceful protest, you want to talk about Lawrence Taylor being an example of what an NFL player should be? Again, the hypocrisy. I don't give a rat's ass that Roger Goodell is making this much money, but when he's nickel and diming the Players Association, that's when I have a problem with it, and that's called hypocrisy. All right, so that's the good. Let's also the bad. Let's get to the funny. I just want to show you it is Halloween. Some strange costumes here. This guy is called Baby Man. I don't know what the hell this is. He had over 100 babies on his body. I don't know what that is. It's a little weird. It's a little bizarre. This is really cool. This guy went as a fish tank with live fish. That's pretty cool. How about this? Vanilla Ice Baby. That's pretty creative. Stop, collaborate, and listen. Netflix and chill. These are all very funny. Very funny. Let's go through a couple more. Here we go. How much do you love cheese balls to get dressed up as a cheese ball? If you've ever been on a dating website, filter, no filter. That's pretty funny. And then finally, I don't know what the hell this is. I don't know what's going on here with this one. Okay, let's get to the comments. Then we're going to go through. Yeah. Candy Day. Candy Day. No candy corn, please. Super scary. Yes. Super scary, Monte. This one's really disturbing. Baby Man. This is me. Got the little wig. Got the little wig. That's it. By the way, for you people, I'm sweating like there's no tomorrow wearing this wig in an air-conditioned place with a ceiling fan above me in this studio, and it's still hot as hell. Still hot as hell. All right, let's get to it. I am 64-23. I picked the Packers to win on Thursday night. 64-23 picking NFL games. My goal is to be 80%. Let's start right off the bat. San Francisco 49ers. I'm just going to tell you right now, before we get into this, and we're going to get John on in about 5 minutes, I'm just going to tell you this. I told my friend Andrea this morning, for the first time doing picks in 3 years, I am disgusted with my picks because I'm picking teams that I would never, ever pick. And I have losing teams that I'm picking, and I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So I might change it as we go. I have these notes here that I go through, but I'm telling you right now, I am not confident in my picks this week. Not at all. For the first time in 3 years, there are like 4 or 5 games, and I'm like, 50 50, 50 50. And it starts with this one: San Francisco 49ers at the Chicago Bears. Matt Nagy is not going to be coaching on the sidelines due to COVID. Matt Nagy is not going to be coaching on the sideline. I don't think the San Francisco 49ers are a good team. I've never been a fan of Kyle Shanahan. One winning season. I'm taking the Bears. That's right. I'm taking the Bears 24-20. 24-20. Take the Bears. Okay, the Tampa Bay Bucks 6-1 at the 4-2 Saints. Everyone outside of Tampa, it will be rooting for the Saints. No one wants to see Tom Brady win another Super Bowl. New Orleans has won 5 straight games against them. 5 straight games. But I got to be honest with you. Jameis Winston is what he thought he was. He's a backup. He's a backup. No one's talking about the Bucks, and I don't know why. They're 6-1 coming off a Super Bowl. They're going to win 13 or 14 games this year. I'm taking the Bucks 33-24. Take the Bucks 33-24. Already told you about the 2-4 49ers at the 3-4 Bears. I'm taking the Bears. Might regret it. Okay, the Rams 6-1 at 1-6 Houston. Houston is so bad. There's a stat here that makes no sense, and it doesn't matter. Matthew Stafford has lost 3 straight games for Houston. Rams roll here. Look for Brandon Cook to be traded. They already traded Ingram. I'm calling it right now on my show. Look for Brandon Cook to be traded to the Green Bay Packers. Brandon Cook of Houston will be traded to the Green Bay Packers. Take LA here, 37-13. 37-13. Okay. 5-1 Bengals at the 1-5 Jets. Cincinnati has won 3 straight games for New York, outscoring them 94-37. I talked about this earlier. You come off a bye week, and Robert Saleh, what a joke of a coach this guy has been. They give up 54 points to the Patriots. Off a bye. Off a bye. The team has quit. Zach Wilson sucks. He leads the league in interception. He's going to miss a couple games due to an injury. Hope he gets better quickly. But this team sucks. The coach sucks. The Bengals roll here 38-10. How can you come off a bye and give up 54 points? That is absolutely pathetic. You had 2 weeks to prepare. I bet you if I coached the team, we would have gave up 50, not 54. Okay, in my upset special of the week, 5-1 Titans at the 3-4 Colts. The Colts have won 3 of their last 4 games. They dominated the Ravens to the end, and they lost. Last month, Carson Wentz, over the last month, 100-plus passer rating. Jonathan Taylor, 100 straight rushing games. All you guys who said, hey, man, I'm not big, I don't believe in Carson Wentz, he has 1 interception. Carson Wentz has 1 interception. Philadelphia Eagles want to crucify Carson Wentz. He's playing very well. They're finally starting to get what Frank Reich is preaching. They're playing very well. And here's the biggest stat. If you have Jonathan Taylor in your fantasy football, you got to play him. The Tennessee Titans are giving up 6 yards per play. 6 yards per play. One of the worst in the NFL. Take the Titans, take the Colts here over the Titans 30-24. 30-24. That's my upset special. Eagles versus the Lions. The Eagles are 2-5. The Lions are 0-7. The Lions shouldn't be this bad. They have TJ Hawkinson. They had Jared Goff, who went to a Super Bowl. They have Swift, who's a good running back. They have Pro Football Focus had them, I think, 9th as an offensive line. They should not be this bad. And I'm doing something here. Can you imagine my thought process here? I'm picking the Lions, who haven't won a game yet, to beat the Eagles. I'm picking a crappy team. A crappy team. I'm taking the Lions in an upset. 27-23. Patriots 3-4 at the 4-2 Chargers. New England has won 5 straight against them. 5 straight. Justin Herbert got shut out last year. 45-0. You don't think that's going to give him some momentum. I will say this. I'm taking the Chargers here 27-23, but if the Patriots beat the Chargers, they will be a playoff team. Okay, 1-5 Jaguars versus the Seahawks. I took the Lions, which was ridiculous. They're 0-7. And what am I doing here? I'm taking the Jags. 1-6. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to outplay Geno Smith, make enough plays. So say it out loud. I've taken the 0-7 Lions. I'm taking the 1-6 Jaguars. And the reason why I'm taking the Jaguars is I don't think there's a strip club by the stadium, so Urban Meyer is not going to be distracted. So I think Jacksonville will win this game. I think Jacksonville will win this game. Another game that's just so ugly to pick. You have the Washington football team 2-5 at the 3-4 Broncos. Washington is 4-12 versus non-divisional opponents. And the Denver Broncos are terrible. They lost 4 straight games. If Denver loses this game, Vic Fangio is going to get fired. If Denver loses this game, Vic Fangio will be fired. I'm taking Denver to win here in an ugly game, 20-17. Again, I am 64-23 picking NFL games. My goal is to be 80%. That is the goal. Let's hope I reach it. Again, taking teams that you wouldn't normally think you'd ever take, Monte. What are you doing? But it's Halloween, so who cares? It's Halloween, so who cares? Okay. We are going to keep the comments coming. I'll get to them as John comes on. We're going to bring on John Meyer. He's been on the show numerous times. Last time he was on the show, he was a barbecue man. He was a restaurant man. He's changed that. He's going to talk about that with Parisi Coffee. Let's bring on John. John, thanks so much for joining the Full Monty Sports Show. How are you?
I'm doing well, Lonnie. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing good, John. We got a lot to talk about. And just so you know, throughout the course of this, I'm just going to put up Halloween decorations all over. So don't get distracted if I put up something scary. Let's get right to it.
Go for it. Let's have some fun this morning.
Right. We talked about this, I think, in preseason. One of the things that bothered me about Andy Reid is the Friday or Thursday before the Super Bowl, they asked him, what kind of adjustments are you making? He goes, we do what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Teams adjust every week to teams. What I'm watching teams do to the Chiefs now is double team Tyreek Hill all over the floor, all over the field, run the ball, little play actions, don't give them big plays. And it seems like Andy Reid has not adjusted. Does he deserve some criticism here?
Absolutely, Andy deserves some criticism for this. I think there might be a generational gap going on in the NFL right now. If you're looking at some of the successful head coaches that are coming up, they're on the younger side outside of Bruce Arians right now. So Andy and Pete Carroll and Belichick to an extent have had trouble adjusting to some of this. So, and it doesn't fall directly on Andy. Eric Bieniemy needs to take some of this heat. Patrick Mahomes needs to take some of this heat because the plays have been there. The Chiefs offense outside of last week has been moving the ball at nearly a historic rate, 3.36 points per possession before last week, second all time behind that 07 Patriots team. So it's not like the Chiefs are not moving the ball and making adjustments from week to week. It's the turnovers that have been the big thing. Super Bowl 55 was a disaster, and it can really be the turning point of where you see the Chiefs right now.
Let me get some comments here. Jared saying I look like a spooky Pete Carroll. I don't know what that means. And just so you guys know, I'm getting a bunch of texts already asking, hey, where are the baby pictures? Where are the baby pictures? They are coming. Let me get these comments off so we can see it. There's one. What was the costume here?
That's Dumbo. So if you haven't seen a whole lot of pictures of Jude, he doesn't have a whole lot of hair. So his first costume is Charlie Brown, and we have some pictures of that that I'll be posting on social media later today. Pulling off a pretty good Charlie Brown. Melissa and I are I'm Linus, and she's the Great Pumpkin.
That's awesome.
We have officially done the thing. That was just one that we found at the thrift store the other night, actually, to go to the babysitter because it's a little chilly here in Kansas.
This one's classic right here.
Yep.
Well, explain this picture.
Okay, so as you alluded to earlier, I've been in barbecue for most of my adult life, and so instead of doing the traditional cake smash for his first birthday, our photographer suggested that we do a rib smash, and that's little Jude just
Did
going
he
to town
love
on some
those
ribs.
ribs?
Yes, loves barbecue.
That
It's in
is
the
that
blood.
is so cute. Okay, we'll get more pictures up. Let's get back to the questions here. So there are rumors that Patrick Mahomes is not 100%. Is that true? Did you have, because everyone said there's got to be something wrong with him. There's got to be something wrong with him. And then the follow-up question is, what happened to the running game? I know Clyde Edwards-Helaire is hurt, but it's like it's not existing. It's almost like the Chiefs want to be the Canadian Football League and just throw it 70 times a game.
Yeah, so I have heard absolutely nothing about Patrick being hurt.
Okay.
Um, I think there has been some growing pains with this offensive line. He was used to two pretty athletic tackles that would stay in front of people. Orlando Brown and the combination of Mike Rimmers and Lucas Niang are less athletic, bigger guys whose technique might be a little better, but they are allowing that defensive end to get around the edge. And Patrick, if you've seen him be successful while eluding the pocket over the last few seasons, he does it by dropping back and floating instead of stepping up into the pocket and moving laterally. And with these tackles, once they release that defensive end, they have free reign to him. So just he's making decisions on with that internal clock a half a step or a step quicker than he has in years past, and you can see that has led to some of the mistakes. It's led to more sacks, things of that nature. And then you throw on what the defense has put the offense in position to do a lot of times, and that's to score 30 points a game. And when you play a brand of football where you feel that you can't make mistakes, you're going to make mistakes in this league because the talent is just so good across the board. So
Okay, so you're bringing up all great points.
yeah,
But people said this a few weeks ago when they were struggling, but I was like, no, they haven't. They said, oh, they caught up. People have caught up to Lamar Jackson. No, they haven't.
no, they haven't.
Okay. People say, oh, Tom Brady's slowing down. No, he hasn't. Is does Patrick Mahomes take some of the blame here? Because it's almost like teams. No, there's no surprise. People used to be all geared up and all almost intimidated to play the Chiefs offense. Now it's like, yeah, we got this. So
Yeah.
does he
Um,
take some of the blame for not maybe, because the way I see it from the outside looking in is they're double teaming Tyreek Hill deep and short. Those crossing routes over the middle should be wide open. The
yeah.
check down should be wide open. Does Patrick Mahomes, who's a gunslinger, wants a big play, have to take some of the blame here? Or in Kansas City, they're not touching him?
No, we're touching Patrick
Oh,
Mahomes. Everybody's at blame in this whole thing. Uh, have teams figured out the Chiefs? And I think they have to a certain extent. I like to liken it to Mike Tyson. You remember Mike Tyson was untouchable early in his career, and then the Buster Douglas fight happened, and that's what I thought Super Bowl 55 was. The Chiefs just were completely outworked in that Super Bowl, both offensively, defensively. The coaching staff has to, and people took note to it, and so you see some of these ramifications coming after it that the Chiefs took that shot and haven't really figured out how to answer the bell since then. A lot of that hunger seems to be gone. And a lot of it has to fall on Patrick Mahomes. You know, if you look to the flats, those are open, but he was wanting to needle that thing through into dangerous situations.
but
And
John, we talked about this on the show, right? We said they lost the Super Bowl, and we said, "Is it going to be a hangover?" We both did, everything they said was, "No, we're hungry. We learned our lesson. We're coming back stronger." It's almost like they won the Super Bowl and they're still resting on their success, even though they lost last year.
yeah, there's a hangover there this year, without a doubt, and a lot of it's stubbornness. Andy not wanting to change things, Steve Spagnuolo not wanting to change things. you look early on, they tried to tweak a couple things, moving Chris Jones to the outside just because Chris Jones said he can play that outside position. But you took a top 5 defensive tackle and made him look lost on the outside. And finally, he's going to be healthy this week, I think, and back in getting most of his snaps on the inside. The Chiefs just need to play the best 11 players on both sides of the ball, because the talent wise with their top 22 is as good as any in the NFL. It's just a matter of using those complementary players in the right way. We know Tyreek Hill's getting double teamed on the outside. Travis Kelce should be eating. And when Travis Kelce's eating on the inside, they're going to start double teaming him, and that's going to open up stuff on the outside. None of that works if the Chiefs don't have a semblance of a run game. And you were right to alluding to that. The run game, we ran the ball 13 times last week. And
I don't understand. I don't understand that. I don't understand. Like,
we were in a 14-0 hole. But in the NFL, a 14-0 hole with a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes' caliber and an offense like the Chiefs is nothing. The Chiefs have come back from double-digit deficits seemingly regularly. So not using the run game to be, to keep some of that stuff off of Patrick in the offense, it was just arrogant more than anything.
One of the reasons why I picked the Packers to win Thursday night was because I thought that A.J. Dillon was going to run about 20 times. They were going to use Jones as a wide receiver. And what the Packers did, and we're seeing this more and more, is we're seeing that teams that can run the ball can keep these prolific offenses off the field. And that the time of possession with the Packers until the last couple minutes of the game against Arizona, that's the way to win. The way to beat the Chiefs is to keep that offense off the field. But even if you score quickly and you're the Chiefs, your defense is still exhausted because, teams are running against them. So what is going on with the run game? I know Andy Reid has never been a big-time run guy. He likes to use his running backs as receivers. But to run it 13 times last week is just ridiculous.
It was unacceptable. And winning covered a lot of the deficiencies that the Chiefs have had over the last 3 seasons. And the lack of a running game has been near the top of that list. And the Chiefs were schematically good at masking that, with a lot of the screens and the end around and the shovel passes and things that
right,
they
which
do.
Which are really, they are like running plays.
They are running plays
in
the Chiefs offense.
Right.
But, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is averaging over 5 yards a carry. It's not that the players aren't there. It's the lack of use in a lot of it. Darrell Williams is not going to, break and bust one, a 60-yard run at any point in time, but, picking up 3, 4, 5 yards when needed. He's between the tackles. He's straight ahead guy that has a decent role on this team if used correctly. And the Chiefs just don't seem to find a need for it in at any point in time. But right now, we need balance on this offense. Patrick Mahomes throwing 45, 50 times a game isn't going to win this division. It might not even get you a winning record this season. The Chiefs really need to evaluate a lot of things on both sides of the ball, specifically the offense, because that's where their strength is.
Well, and another thing that really, you talk about stubbornness. I always like Spagnuolo because in playoff games, he always has 1 or 2 wrinkles where he takes away something. Spagnuolo may not be the best during the regular season, but I've watched him have great success in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
But this team can't get off the field. They, on third downs, they're giving up a first down 48% of the time, which is 30th. The pass rush, I know you have guys who could create turnovers, but what the hell's happened to this defense?
Yeah, they're early on, a lot of it falls blame on Spagnuolo and just his stubbornness to play veteran players over some younger talent. And then moving Chris Jones out of place, which, after that Ravens disaster of a loss, you've seen that Chris Jones had no business playing defensive end in that 4-3 system. Had no business. He was on an island. Lamar Jackson in that Ravens run game just exposed him like no other. And then we tried for another couple weeks to make that work, and then an injury happened, and Chris Jones from week 2 to through now has been non-existent from a $20+ million a year the defensive linemen. Frank Clark on the same in the same breath, and you can say he has one tackle for loss or something ridiculous like that. He's getting decent pressure, but he's never finishing that. And that was never Frank Clark's thing. Was finish. He's never going to be a 12 or 14 sack guy, but creating havoc for somebody else has always been something that he's been able to do, and he's just hasn't been super successful with it. On the back end, playing Daniel Sorensen in coverage for the first 6 weeks of the season was asinine. You watch players just throw their hands up because he's physically not talented enough to do that. And when you had a Pro Bowl caliber safety sitting behind him, just because you don't trust, I don't know what happens Tuesday through Friday. I'm not at the practices,
But
I'm not trying to say that
no,
the
no.
Chiefs were out there playing a worse player, but with my own two eyes, I can see that one player doesn't allow that to happen and one does, and we're rolling out that same. And sometimes you just got to change it up.
So with Spagnuolo wanting to play older guys, Greg brings up a point here. They haven't hit in the last 2 drafts. Do you agree with this? Are there better players on the bench that are actually playing right now?
Not now. I think with last week, the Chiefs went ahead and decided to do some stuff defensively. Outside the first quarter, they played pretty all right, but they were put in some very poor situations for the first quarter and a half, where the Chiefs offense was just going 3 and out there, and then after you gave up a 90 some odd yard drive, you're out there in less than 2 minutes. That's not a recipe for success. Yes, Creed Humphrey is going to be an all-pro center. I didn't
love that dude.
I thought he'd be a top 10 center.
Yeah.
But Nick Bolton is leading all NFL players, our second round linebacker pick out of Missouri, leading all NFL tacklers for tackles for loss.
He's a tackling machine, right? That guy's a playmaker.
His coverage skills are terrible,
right.
To say the very least. But we can hope that changes here. He's been put in some positions where he probably shouldn't have been, but he's learning at a very high rate. So to say that, also Trey Smith, rookie out of Tennessee, started every game at right guard this year. Looks to be doing adequately. For a 6th round pick, probably graded out as a 2nd or 3rd round talent, but had some medical issues that people were scared of. That I'd say that's a success. Lucas Niang, who's probably going to be our right tackle of the future, we drafted in the 3rd round last year. Clyde Edwards-Helaire probably shouldn't have been drafted in the 1st round, but to say that he hasn't been used or hasn't,
he had a great before he got hurt last year. He was phenomenal.
He hasn't been on the field enough. That's his big thing, staying healthy. So it's not the past 2 drafts that I'm worried about. It was the previous 2 before that, where there hasn't been a lot of on the field talent that's come from them.
You bring up a good point, but I say this all the time. Like, one of the things that I'm seeing with the Packers now is they become instead of being a finesse team, they're physical on both sides of the ball. And one of the things that they really lost was Blake Martinez, who couldn't cover anyone, but he had over 100 tackles. Yeah. Sometimes you just need a guy who's a tackling machine, and then you take him down in 3rd and long. So there's still value for a player who's a tackling machine, right?
Yeah, he's a thumper, and everybody knew that coming out of Missouri. But even in the mocks, some of the mocks had Nick Bolton going late round.
Yeah.
So when the Chiefs got him towards the latter part of the 2nd round, we thought it was a value pick, and I think he's probably the best middle linebacker that the Chiefs have had since Derek Johnson.
Okay, all right. So I look at this team. I think the Chargers are the best team. Now, if they go out and they lose to New England today, I'm off that bandwagon. I think if you watch some of the players talking now without John Gruden, they say that it's all positive. You're not worried about making a mistake. You're not worried about looking over your shoulder. You're not worried about coming to the sideline and getting humiliated. So I think the Raiders they're not an elite team, but they're very good. We look at this team. Denver's lost 4 in a row, whatever, terrible. But I think the Chargers and Raiders right now are better than Kansas City.
Yeah, the record shows it. It's what have you done for me lately in the NFL? And both the Raiders and the Chargers have done a lot more than the Chiefs have here lately. I think the Raiders are going to do what the Raiders do at this point in time of the season, and it's a pretty fairly consistent record where they go into the middle part of the season with like a 5-3 or a 6-2 record or something like that,
And then they
and then
falter.
they
Yeah.
lose 6 games
They
in a
lose,
row.
yeah.
You know,
But I think part of that, John, and I think part of that is John Gruden just wears you down.
yeah,
And everyone's saying it's a different feel now that he's not there. They're not coming out and saying they're happy, but everything they're saying is this is what we needed. So I
yeah.
think part of the reason was like you just get sick of being yelled at 24/7.
Yeah, there's a lot to that. I'm not a firm believer in the Raiders right now, and the Chiefs have 2 opportunities to play them upcoming here in the next few weeks. So, my opinion on the Raiders may change in that time. But at this point in time, I'm not a believer in the Raiders. I'm with you. I believe the Chargers are the best
Are you shocked
roster.
at how good Justin Herbert has been?
I am not. You know, I liked Herbert coming out of the draft. I didn't know if he was going to be the best quarterback out of that draft, but he has shown me that he very well may be the best quarterback outside of Patrick Mahomes, arm talent wise, in the NFL. You know, there's a lot of really good young quarterbacks in the NFL right now. What Joe Burrow's doing in Cincinnati is flipping insane. You know, who would think that if the playoffs started today, the Cincinnati Bengals would be the number 1 seed in the AFC right now?
And they're going to blow out the
I
Jets.
know it. My mouth
And
has a hard time saying that because that's
And think about this: if Deshaun Watson winds up going to Pittsburgh, right?
Mhm.
I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to leave. But you look at that. One of the questions that I bring up with my co-host Brad Ward on Monday nights is, how are you going to pay Baker Mayfield $35 million when he's the 4th worst quarterback in that division? If the Steelers go out and get a legitimate free agent, because Joe Burrow's better,
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson's better, that's something you have to look at. So let's talk about
The
this. They
Browns need to
bounced
go
back.
get Aaron Rodgers.
What's that?
The Browns need to go get Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, that would be phenomenal. So, they bounce back against the Giants, right? Monday, give us your prediction for this.
They have to bounce back against the Giants, or the season's over. There's two good teams in front of them right now that they have to make some ground up, and beating up on the NFC East has been the Chiefs' recipe for success.
Yeah, exactly.
Little success in this 2021 season. You know, I think it's a litmus test this week for a lot of NFL teams, and the Chargers and the Patriots both being that. However that game goes, I could see that team making a playoff run. If the Chargers go out and lay a dud like they did in New England last year with that 45-0, I like how you led that. This gives a lot of motivation to Justin Herbert to prove where he's at.
Yeah.
But Bill Belichick is a heck of a coach, and he does well against young quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And so you know, I think this is going to be the launching point for one of those 2 franchises for the rest of the 2021 season.
Listen, right now, Bill Belichick has lost a divorce. Tom Brady's kicking ass, won a Super Bowl. Bill Belichick struggling. Okay, final question on the Chiefs, and we got about 5 minutes left. We're going to bring on Alex Scooby. John, what is your ceiling for the Chiefs right now?
I think it's a tough schedule ahead of them. The ceiling, you know, they can go on a run. The talent's absolutely there that they could win 8 of their last 10 games. And, you know, we're not even thinking about, you know, the early part of the season and then another AFC Division West title. So I think the ceiling right now would be that 11 win mark.
Okay. So 11 wins in the playoffs.
11 wins in the playoffs. If they continue turning the ball over, the Chiefs need to do one of 3 things for the remainder of the season for them to have any chance at the playoffs. They need to either stop turning over the ball at a nearly historic rate, like 44 turnovers is what they're on rate for, which is just crazy considering that they haven't had more than 20 in the last 5 years. At any point in time. So that's nuts at the rate that they're turning the ball over. They have to start running the ball. And I just don't know if Andy or Eric Bieniemy is ready to do that. And
you know what's so frustrating, John? Eric Bieniemy was considered by most to be like the next great head coach.
Yeah.
Now people are taking shots at him left and right. It just goes to show you sometimes you got to leave at the right moment.
Yeah, show
right?
me what you're doing right now. That's all the NFL is.
Yeah.
What are you doing for me right now? Or the Chiefs have to start creating a pass rush. They need to hit on one of those 3 things at a pretty exceptional rate to have any chance of the playoffs. At this point in time, it would be really silly of me to say that the Chiefs are going to go 8-2 over their final 10 games with the schedule that they have in front of them. So I'm having a real hard time doing that. It's hard for me to not be a fan in this moment and just to be critical of what's going on. But the Chiefs haven't given me more than a quarter or two out of every game to get.
They haven't played a complete game. They haven't played a complete game. 100%.
In 19 and 20, the Chiefs could play really good for one quarter and win football games.
Now they can't do it.
They can't. Right. So they need to put together. The New York Giants with Daniel Jones is a great opportunity for the Chiefs to just lay it to somebody.
Take all their frustrations out
because
on the
six
Giants.
days later, you have Aaron Rodgers coming to Kansas City on 10 days rest. He might not have a single wide receiver to throw the football to, but it does not matter with Aaron Rodgers. He can take me and you, Monte, and throw for 400.
Well, I got great hands, so I got great hands. That's one thing. All right. We got a couple minutes left here. Then we're going to get Alex Scooby on. Real quick, give us about 30 seconds. I look at Kansas State, who's now 5-3. I look at them like I look at Iowa football. Like, look, you're not going to compete for a national championship, but there's no reason why you shouldn't be in a top 20. What do you like about the coach? What don't you like? Is this team underachieving, overachieving? What's going on?
I think they're exactly where they need to be right now. Look at their 3 losses: Iowa State, Oklahoma State, Oklahoma. All 3 of those teams have spent time in the top 10 this season and probably going to finish 1, 2, 3 in the Big 12. So K-State being towards the middle of the pack in the Big 12 does not bother me at this point in time. The talent's starting to arrive. Look at Deuce Vaughn. That kid
He's a good recruiter, right? He's a good recruiter. You're getting players.
Okay, and I don't know if you watched any of the game yesterday where
I saw a quarter of it.
Yeah, Felix Anduke-Uzama had 6 sacks. I know the NCAA stepped away from their investigation of the basketball program at KU to try to take away 2 of those sacks because he forced fumbles that were covered by K-State on their side of the line of scrimmage, and the NCAA wants to say those aren't sacks.
They're sacks. They are sacks.
They're sacks. You're telling a guy that he was too darn good at sacking the quarterback that he forced a fumble that was recovered by his team aren't sacks. The NCAA is a joke.
So you're happy with Kansas State? You're happy with them?
I'm happy with K-State. I have no reason not to be. They're going to make a bowl. They're going to get eligible this week.
Right. So every year
they have some building pieces to grow on, which towards the end of the Bill Snyder era, it was starting to not look that way. Chris Klieman is a proven winner.
I like it because, like I said, like Iowa, they should win 9 or 10 games. Yeah, be competitive. Okay, now. You went from obviously the barbecue. Everyone loves barbecue. We showed the picture of your son just going to town on there, and you made like a total career change. Now, there's 2 questions I have for this. One, ribs and barbecue, greatest thing ever. But you left that, which is fine. Now you started writing a blog about local coffee places, right? Last year, right? Or
No, I started the year before, and
the year before, right? Yeah. And then all of a sudden you make the announcement, hey, I'm no longer going to be doing barbecue. I'm going to work for Parisi Coffee. Did that happen because of your passion and love for coffee? And my question to you is it going to be different? Because I've worked in a restaurant. I know the hustle and bustle, food, preparation. This is just basically coffee. So how different is it?
It's a very different world, as I've come to learn over the last couple of weeks. Just getting some inside training, touring some facilities, just learning the operations and the people that go into it, and both things that really drive those industries are passion. And you've worked in the restaurant industry. You have to be super passionate, or you will get burned out quickly in the restaurant world.
One of the things I loved about being the head chef in my restaurant is every night you have to be on your game. You can't have an off night cooking. When you go out now and you're embarking on this journey, you must love it because you were writing a blog about coffee places, and obviously you're a coffee person. Yeah. So what has been the biggest difference between, obviously coffee's more of a morning people, where the restaurant's more of a night crew? What's been the biggest adjustment for you?
Okay, so when I was interviewing, I made this kind of similarity or this, uh, I was trying to just really pigeonhole restaurant people versus coffee people, and both of them are super passionate. Restaurant people are a lot more rough around the edges. The coffee people are a whole lot more eccentric. So that's the biggest adjustment. I have a God-given talent to manage and lead people, and having a quality product and
Makes it
serving,
easier.
serving
Makes it
that.
easier.
And so my to leave the restaurant world and to leave Slaps Barbecue is super bittersweet for me. I never really imagined myself outside of the restaurant industry. So I needed to find somewhere
Your
where,
hours are different now?
yes, they are much more coffee forward hours. Just the big part of the move for me was to have my evenings and have some weekend days off so I could spend time with my family. That's the most important thing in the whole world for me. Is
Probably an adjustment for your wife too. Like, hey, I'm used to having nights by myself.
Yeah,
Now this
yeah.
guy's here all
Well,
the time.
yeah, she likes me, so I'm happy to spend time with her, and Jude. That was the whole reason for the move. So,
That's great.
I just coffee is awesome. It's a bean that really unites the entire world. It's grown in these third world, very impoverished countries and enjoyed in, high rises and in, where I'll be working at Union Station in Kansas City, these amazing places that just brings this entire bean and this experience and this passion together. If you've read any of my articles, you know that I'm passionate about it. I'm passionate about serving a quality product that Parisi Coffee absolutely has. I'm passionate about just creating an experience for the people that I'm serving and the people that I'm leading. And it's a great opportunity for me and my family. It's a great opportunity for Kansas City to experience some of my talents that I can share with them in a completely different field.
It's amazing because you just put and talk about, me, master of the segue here.
Yeah.
You talk about like a product. It's so easy to sell when you have a good product.
Yeah.
I can have Alex Scooby on my show every week talking Dolphins, but they're 1-6. So like people across the door don't want to do it. But I'm going to bring him on next, and that's the whole thing. Like I have a lot of friends, a lot of writers who cover the Jets. Nobody cares because they're terrible. But it's great to have a product, John. I'm so happy for you. How can we follow
Absolutely. Thank
you?
you.
How can we support you?
So I haven't been writing that much this year. Family's growing, career change, a lot of things. But you can check me out on Twitter. I'm always tweeting about how the Chiefs are disappointing me. And you can see my Twitter handle there, John Meyer KC. If you want to read some of my past blogs, I brought in a lot of coffees from around the country in Kansas City locally at chiefscoffeecorner.food.blog. Now that I'll be experimenting a little more with what Parisi has to offer, I plan on firing up that and letting a little bit of the stuff that we're putting out there. I'll be doing a lot of that on social media with the career move, and then you can see me on Facebook at John D Meyer 7, I believe is what it is. So yeah, there's a lot of good things going on. As always, go Chiefs, go Cats. Let's have some good coffee and some good barbecue out there.
All right, John. Thanks so much. We love having you on. And as always, please put your stuff on my page. I always read it, always retweet it. So definitely a big fan of yours and try to support you as much as possible.
We appreciate it, Monte. You're doing an amazing job. Keep it up, man.
All right. Thanks, John. Talk to you down the road. That was John Meyer doing a tremendous job covering the Chiefs. Let's bring on actor Alex Scooby. Alex, I think you were cursing at me.
Boo-hoo! I'm a Chiefs fan. I have the luxury of loving coffee. Meanwhile, the Dolphins camp, all we do is drink booze and stare into the bottom of a vomit bag. How are you, man?
I'm great. One of the questions I have for you is someone tweeted and you retweeted on your page says it's so hard to be a lifelong Dolphins fan.
Damn, dude.
I mean, Alex, what do you enjoy the games anymore?
It's funny. I have zero expectations. So now, I used to just be like, oh my God, score a touchdown or defense. Now I literally just sit there with a bag of Fritos and I just go, of course. Well, of course they did that. Of course they did.
But here's the thing, Alex. The games have been competitive. It's not like they're getting blown out like Houston, who's been out for
come
100.
on, dude. They have literally shit the bed
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I thought Flores was going to be like the man, the myth, the legend, right? We've been looking for a quarterback since, 95. We got Tua Tagovailoa, who is, I think, a phenomenal prospect. But the win now mentality is killing us. And it's like, Stephen Ross, ever since he's owned the team, we've been, pretty much a shit box. And it's like, what are we doing here? So now, oh yeah, okay, so let's sell the farm for a guy who's got 22 sexual assault allegations. It's just
It's insane, and we're gonna
exhausted.
get into that because I have so many questions regarding that. You bring up a great point, but first, people are already texting me. How's your Jeep coming along? We know you have a passion. All the fans are like, "Hey, what's going on with this Jeep?"
Man, the Jeep is looking rock solid. I did a lift on it. It's got I did a whole new, track bars and steering stabilizer. I do all this stuff in my driveway. It's going good, man. Alex is a riot. Thank
Yeah,
you.
people love you, Alex. People, like I said,
Yeah,
if the
go check out my podcast, guys. I mean, the thing is out there. It's
we're
flying
gonna
around.
we're
It's so
gonna
great.
get into
It's a
that
great job,
because it's first of all, let's just talk about that podcast for a minute because
Sure.
you guys start talking and I'm like, this has got to be scripted because
No.
you guys have such good chemistry.
Yeah.
Like you were talking the other day, for those of you who haven't watched it, Alex made up a great point. He goes, how come if I want to go to France, I can't just put a chip on my earlobe and all of a sudden I learned French with all the technology. And your co-host brought up a great
Wayne,
point.
his name is
Alex,
Wayne Hanna. Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
you just talking to your phone, but you're like, no, we have so much technology.
Yeah.
Please explain that segment that you did.
Well, it's funny. So the podcast is Zen AF Podcast. You can find it at zenaf.tv. That's our website. It's like it's a content website. So we're trying to build more content than just the podcast. So that little segment there was kind of true. It's like we were talking, I forget what we were talking about, but then all of a sudden I was like, why can't they just have a little thing like you just stick in your fucking, you put it in and then you're on your way to France. And then while it's downloading into your brainstem. So by the time you get there, you're fluent. And that's it. I mean, that's
you're fluent in French. And he's like, Alex, they have that. It's called your phone. And you're like, no, I want a chip. I want a chip. It's hilarious. Yeah. Hilarious.
Okay. I love your costume, man.
Oh, yeah. This was literally done 15 minutes before the show.
I'm not wearing pants, so that's my costume.
I never wear pants during the show, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So we're simpatico right there. Okay, let's get back before we talk about your podcast. Yeah. So I don't understand the hatred for Tua. I don't get this at all. You posted this, and I'm stealing it from you. Mm-hmm. Best on target throw percentage. Yeah. Tua is second. Look at the guys up there: Joe Burrow, Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray. Why are we blaming Tua when over the last 2 weeks he's healthy, 70% completion, 600 yards passing? I don't give a rat's ass that he threw 3 interceptions. Peyton Manning had 28 interceptions rookie year. In his 4th year, he had 23. The guy's still learning on the job, and half the fans want him gone, and half the fans are like you who love him. I say keep him.
Yeah, I am full on keep Tua. Just keep him. He's a kid, right? He looks great in some moments. Yeah, some moments he gets flustered, and he had those 3 picks. He had 2 last week that were just kind of.
What rookie quarterback? What young quarterback doesn't?
I know, and this is what I'm saying, man. So I think that they feel like they have to point the finger at someone. I point the finger at the front office, right? I point it from the head of the fish down. So you have Stephen Ross, you have Greer, you have Flores, and look. They dismantled the defense that was stellar last year. They got rid of Shaq Lawson.
Tackling machine.
They sent Van Noy back to New England, right? So right there, those 2 moves right there to me went, okay, so they think that these younger guys can come in and do what the veterans were doing. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Not to mention the offensive line. So they get rid of some guys. They bring in this young group, right? They have this young offense. They're Swiss cheese, man. They are. I mean, yeah, they played better last week and the week before. They kind of are kind of gelling a little better. But my God, so you have this young quarterback who's supposed to what? Come back from we're playing the Bills today. I'm literally gonna have just like a whoopee cushion next to me, just squeeze it. Fart noises. I mean,
Greg makes a great point. He says, "How can you be a Dolphins fan and Zen at the same time?"
Oh my God! Let me tell you something. It is a lot of meditation.
And so I don't know. Like I said this.
Yeah.
I said this to. I was getting into an argument with this guy who works at one of the local radio stations here in Miami, and he's talking about Deshaun Watson. I go, it's not Tua's fault. This defense is in last in almost every category.
Yeah.
Kyle Pitts, who's an absolute stud for Atlanta, but he set the record for
167
the
yards. What,
yeah, he had
165?
163 yards,
63,
which
yeah.
is a record since 1970 for a rookie tight end. They can't get off the field on third down. I thought Flores' strength was defense.
And also, so Eric Rowe has taken a step back. Is that Rowe? Yeah, he's
Yeah.
taken a step back. So, look, man, I think the entire organization on a whole is just doing what they've always done. For the last 2 decades,
It's like they want a quick fix. They don't want to build anything.
but they're not dealing with what. Okay, so they dismantled the defense. That was what, in the top 10 last season, right?
Yeah, they were very
they were
good.
great. They had the bend don't break mentality. Now they bend and then they break and then they just crack. It's horrible. Like, we should have won last week. We should have won the week before. But Tua doesn't also play defense, guys. He doesn't.
Yeah.
Right?
Listen,
Tua doesn't
I
play
think he's
Waddle doesn't play defense. So I don't know.
It's funny because I went back and looked, and by the way, got to give you props. This is why you got to, watch his TV show. Such a wordsmith you are. You said it starts from the head of the fish
Angelina
down.
loves it. Oh,
Yes.
thank you.
It starts from the head of the fish down, talking about the Dolphins' ownership.
Yeah.
But you go back and you look, like, again, I'm a football guy, so I'll watch any game. I asked you this one time, and I said, do you follow any other teams? You don't have a secondary team. You watch the Dolphins, right? And that's it, right?
I will watch good games. Like, if there's a game matchup that I like, I'll watch it just to watch football. But I have been a Dolphins fan for 43 years now, right? I'm 48. I started watching them when I was 5. So it's like I have just, in my brain, I hook onto something and I just kind of delve into it. And it's always been the Dolphins. And you just, as a fan, as a a true fan, it's like you watch the crumbling and you want to be able to help. In some weird way, you want to be like, guys, give me your number. I want to call you real quick. I want to tell you what you're not seeing that I am, that a lot of us are, But and by the way, the whole
Alex, you're
Deshaun
very
Watson.
active with people on Twitter who are Dolphins fans. You're very active with them. Like,
Yeah, but a lot of that reminds me of Facebook, where if you say something, then you get into an argument with somebody. I'm not about arguing with people on any social media anymore. I put my stuff out there. You don't like it, move on. Like, attendance is not compulsory. You know what I mean?
No, it's funny. John Cusack posted something the other day. He goes, once I hit 40, I stopped arguing with people who don't have an open mind. He said, if you tell me 1 + 1 is 5, I'm like, good for you, dude. Like, I'm
I can't do it. Yeah, I can't.
Sports is about opinion. It's your take. I'm not going to get involved with the debate who's better, Michael Jordan or LeBron. It's an opinion. So I agree with you. But what I'm saying is, like, you're still, no matter what the record is, you're still as passionate about the team, where I won't watch a Jet game. I'll watch anything but.
Yeah. So, the thing is that there's this kind of deep-rooted just win, guys. I mean, like, look, we have the players, right? We do. On offense, we should be scoring a lot more than we are.
You should.
Right?
Yeah.
Defense, well, we've got the 2 best secondaries. We got
highest paid secondary in the NFL.
What's his name and who's the fuck? And it's like, they should be picking off passes left and right, but something is not right. And I think it's the management. I think it's the office. I think it's the coaching staff. It's just
we all loved Flores last year. We've loved him. We love this guy. Is he on the hot seat in your opinion?
Yes. And I think that he has some kind of weird thought in his head that, he came out the other day and said, Tua's, barring any injury, is our quarterback for 2021.
First of all, that's such a BS statement, because you don't say that about Tom Brady. You don't say that about Justin Herbert.
Could you imagine being Tua? Could you imagine being this kid? He's not even mentally fully mature yet. What is he, 23?
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous.
So it's like he's sitting there. If I was him, I'd be like, I'd be calling my agent and be like, I need to get the fuck out of here now. Like,
I don't understand it, because like the one thing I used to coach, and the one thing during practice all week, I was a bastard. I was in people during the game because we were so successful. It was like, hey, this is easy. The coach publicly should be building Tua up. Not like, unless he gets injured, what more does he have to do? 600 yards in his
I
last two
know, man.
games.
Well, look, I don't think he's going to be in Miami, but I will say this: wherever he goes, like we just said, like I don't follow any other teams. I will follow this kid.
Okay.
So if he goes to Washington, if he goes to Detroit, if he goes to Broncos, I'll watch him. I'll watch that team because I
But the
want to
thing
see
is,
this kid succeed, man.
how much better are the Dolphins with Deshaun Watson than Tua?
I
Like you
can't
said,
stand that name. I
but
hate
he
thinking
can't
about this.
tackle. Quarterbacks do not tackle. Quarterbacks do not play defense.
I
It's
know,
insane.
man. I get it, man. But look, a lot of people out there, a lot of people that are Dolphins fans feel like that they set up Tua to fail. Right? A lot, not all Dolphins fans feel that way, but some do. And I'm kind of in that camp. Like they really just kind of threw him out there, and they pulled him last year, put Fitzpatrick back in, who by the way I love. Like I love Fitzpatrick, but they started him, then they took him out, and they didn't let him fail like he's supposed to, only to learn from it, to grow. And now he's got a shitty offensive line. He's got a defense that's just not doing what they should be doing, and now they're calling his head. They're calling for his head.
Talent-wise, they've underachieved, and I posted a video regarding this show, and I said, "Hey guys, it's not Tua's fault. Blame the coach. Why are we blaming Tua, who's producing?"
Yeah, no, I think Flores. I really do think Flo is on really shaky ground. I really do, and if he goes, I hope they take the entire coaching staff. I hope everyone is just gutted from the ground up because they're not doing it, man. They're not.
Well, the only good news is, you're in a division with my Jets, so you're not going to be the worst team in
I
that
think
division.
they're better than us.
People are talking about your background. Where are you right now? Are you in California? Are you in Texas? What's going on?
I'm in Austin, Texas. I'm actually where I do my podcast from, Zen AF podcast.
How often do you go back and forth?
I'm spending until the new year here because then I have to be back in LA because I start rehearsing for a play. I'm doing another play in Los Angeles, which
congratulations! Can you reveal any of that information?
Yeah, it's called Gaslight House. We open March 26th at the Whitefire Theater in Los Angeles, and I'm the lead of it. And my friend Howard Scora, who's an amazing playwright, he wrote it, and it's just family dysfunction at the highest level.
Believe me, coming around the holidays right now, that is great. All right, so let's move off the Dolphins. I want to talk about you. I want to talk about your career. I want to talk about your tweets. There are some things that you tweet that I'm just like, I'm a little confused. You tweeted out, if you don't like the Blues Travelers, eat a bucket of D. You were angry, but then you put XOXO hugs and kisses. Is this before happy hour, during happy hour, after hour?
That's called tequila.
Okay. But you.
I don't know how to be more obvious. I'm being honest.
Okay. So the Blues Travelers is your favorite band?
No, not at all. I was listening to a song and all of a sudden I went, you know what? This is a great band. Not my favorite, but this is a great band. If you don't like them, you can eat a crocheted bag of D.
Right. Yes. Okay. So George wants to know when we can get tickets for the play because he lives out in LA.
Okay. They go on sale, I believe, at the end of February or middle of February, they'll start going on sale.
And when you do plays, Alex, so just so you know, is there, I know this, I used to do stand-up comedy. Is there anything better than the live audience? Is that your favorite thing to do as an actor?
It is, but I also love the adrenaline of no cut, right? So I'm a TV actor too. I do on-camera stuff, and I like the idea that once you step out on stage, it's go. Like there is no turning back. And I also like the journey of it. And I love, yes, to answer your question, the live audience, the energy you get from them. As an actor, you're not doing stand-up, so you're not interacting with the audience, but you put up that fourth wall, like they're not there. But the energy you get from them is just phenomenal. And I love to show the arc and the journey of the characters that my friend writes. This is my third play with Howard.
Oh wow, really?
It's my third play with him. Yeah, he's just he's a brilliant writer, and I love his work, man. And
okay,
so catch me on the 14th. I guest starred on Fear the Walking Dead. So I play a character on that show on the 14th of November. It's on a Sunday, I believe. My podcast, and stuff
Yeah,
like
we're going to
that.
get into all that. We
Yeah.
have plenty of time. So I would like to think, I don't know if you remember this, but the reason why I got in contact with you on social media is I heard you and your wife, Mo Collins, on the Stephanie Miller podcast.
Oh, I love Stephanie. Yeah.
And then I reached out to you because you were talking about how you were a sports fan, and you originally did my podcast over the phone. I didn't even
That's
have like a
right.
YouTube
I
show.
remember that. This is what, the 4th or 5th time? I can't remember how many times I've
This
done
is
it.
like the 5th time you've been on. So
Yeah.
I have to, and then I started doing a YouTube show, and now this show's, the best show in the country. So I'd like to
Oh,
think that I was the
course.
inspiration for you to go, because when I first started watching you do these quirky little videos on Twitter where it's early in the morning and
Yeah.
you're talking to the camera, and now you've evolved like I have.
That's my TikTok, man. So okay, so funny. So my friend Wayne Hanna, who does the podcast with me, I met him on TikTok. He has Good Morning Assholes is his thing, and mine is just Alex Scooby TikTok. And we both so he has this mental health awareness thing, but with like a twist. And we kind of hooked up with each other through there. And we were talking one day, this is like 5 months ago. He's like, we should do a podcast. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And then, like you said, like, it's not scripted. We literally sit down every Wednesday or Thursday. We get he's in Canada. I've never met him. I've never
What's so
personally
weird
met
is
him.
I think that you guys have like topics because you go back and forth. And what's so funny about the show is he'll just start laughing or he'll be like, what the hell are you talking about? Like he calls you out on your ridiculousness all the time.
Yeah, I mean, we just have fun. It's funny. It's like the podcast is doing really well. Okay, so we are just about to hit 12 weeks, episode 12, and people dig it. I mean, people dig it. We've got fans of the show. We got people sending us stuff like gifts. We have a couple sponsors that are coming on. Headphones, microphones type stuff, and it's doing really well for such a fledgling. And we're also part of the Dean Blundell network. Dean Blundell was had the same kind of stuff going on as like a Howard Stern did, but he's in Canada, so we're part of his network. And then,
so you never met him. You never met him. You guys, you have such good chemistry. You weren't friends before this.
No, we weren't, and we just
Wow.
met on TikTok. We've known each other 5 months, and we've become kind of like besties. And
Right.
but he's coming out here in 3 weeks to stay in Austin for a few days, just with my wife and I, just to hang out and shoot the shit and actually meet each other, because
That's amazing.
we have such a great thing going right now.
That's amazing. I just started TikTok. I still don't understand it. I put a video together of just an Oklahoma quarterback who's been benched, and it got
Yeah.
like 25,000 views.
Yeah.
And then I recorded it on TV, 30 seconds. Then I put something together. I was so animate about it, so precise. I got like 450
That's
views.
how it works, man. Look, the third video I put out on TikTok got like 1.2 million views. Right. And then after that, it slowly kind of went to like 200,000, 85,000, whatever. And now I don't even know. I mean, I don't really look anymore. I think I get
my
like
point is-
maybe 1,000 views, like maybe like once in a while.
My point is I've been very lucky. I joined a month ago. The full Monte Sports Show has 75,000 views with the hashtag on it, which is
Right.
good because I'm not super active on it, but I have no idea how it works because the videos that I just post
Yeah.
get 10,000 views. The ones that I take so much time,
Oh,
I'm like, this is
yeah.
gonna go viral. It's got like 400 views. I'm like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, no, that's the thing though. Like the one I did that did go viral, got over 1 million views. I literally was outside of my backyard in LA. I picked up my phone and I just looked at it and went, I was born in 1972 and I drink a lot of water. Some people say I look like I'm in my 20s, and I'm like, what?
And that's
then
the video
it's
that
like,
went viral.
But I drink a lot of water, and that's why I look like this. I would say that half of the people there was like 40,000 comments. I would say more than half of them were like, you look like 20s. You look like dog shit. Like my grandfather looks better than you. I mean, it was one of the funniest things I've ever. I mean, it was just I was responding to some of these horrible comments. Like, this is one of the funniest things I've ever read. Thank you for telling me that I look like shit.
Anytime someone says something rude, I always say, you seem nice. I'll give you an example. Yeah. My parents have been married over 60 years.
Yeah.
I posted a video last Christmas of them dancing on Twitter. My
Yeah.
parents are so salsa, and it got like 1.2 million views in like Patricia Arquette retweeted it. A bunch of actors, Alyssa Milano retweeted. They're like, I love this. But people's comments were like, your mom's wearing different socks. Someone put, what a cheap ass flat screen you have. Like, and I'm just like what? Like, what are you?
But you have to laugh at these people because these are the same people that go home. Maybe they rape their cat. They kick their kids around the house and they go back in their basement, which they call like their bomb shelter. You know what I mean? And most of them are probably patriots.
Survivalists. Alex, what's going on here?
Okay, so Sleep with Alex Scooby. So, like I said, ZAF.tv is a content channel that we're working on. Sleep with Alex Scooby is just let me talk you to sleep. But let me do it by talking about things like chlorophyll and chickenpox. So that's what that is, man. And
so it's nightmares.
Oh, no, it's sweet and tender. It's sweet and tender, Monty. Sweet and
What
tender.
are
But I
people
talk all about chlorophyll and just things you can. So you're learning while you're sleeping with me. So let me take you to bed. Let me tuck you in, and let me talk to you about cat litter.
Alex, is that a robe or a sweatshirt? What type of sleeping
That's a
gear is
shirt.
that?
That's a shirt. I got my teddy bear there. There's a candle lit. I'm going to read to him from the book of dog bags.
Okay, explain this to me.
Peen and Ween. Okay, so Peen and Ween is I call Peen and Ween my side chick, right? So I'm married to my podcast, but I have this thing called Peen and Ween, which actually was my wife. She's an actress Mo Collins. It was her idea about a bear and a turtle who are best friends. They live in the woods and they just have conversations. And so she's really busy, so I took it, and it's just basically a bear and a turtle who just have conversations while they're doing their thing. I think the last episode, it's up on YouTube. Ween got shot with an arrow, and
What?
Peen had to take him Peen had to do some surgery while in the forest. But they were talking about the fact that Ween did not want to audition as a leprechaun. So while the surgery is going on, the bear who's got an arrow in him is just talking about how he doesn't want to play a leprechaun on a TV series.
Alex, I don't smoke weed, but I'm not against it.
I don't either.
I've tried edibles, but I gotta think smoking weed legally with you may be the most in-depth, deep conversation anyone's ever had.
Man, come on, dude. I'm deep as hell, dude. I'm like as deep as the last tequila bottle I drank.
You know what's funny?
I lied. I do smoke weed. Go ahead.
Okay. You know what's funny? I once had a woman who said to me, you remind me of the ocean. I say, why? Because I'm deep and mysterious. She goes, no, you just make me sick. So, that was, speaking of which, so what is the best compliment you've ever gotten as an actor from a fan?
From a fan?
Yes.
Oh my God, dude. There's been actually quite a few. I think the best compliment I ever got was that I had them laughing hysterically. Like every time they see me on a comedy, because I do both drama and comedy. Every time they saw me in a comedy, that they would just laugh and believe the character that I was playing. And I guess that's it. Like, especially with comedy, it's like if people aren't laughing, you're not doing it right. So, back to the days of King of Queens, which was like 4,000 years ago.
I watched those episodes, and I'm like, you're so. It's like George Costanza, right?
Mm-hmm.
He is a very smart man. I met him in person.
Yeah.
Very smart man, very well read. He's a ballroom dancer, but on Seinfeld, he's clunky, he's clumsy.
George Costanza? Who played George Costanza?
What's his? I'll get the name in a minute. But going back to King of Queens, you are totally not the nerdy, dorky, neurotic person that you are on King of Queens.
Well, the thing is about especially with acting, it's like you can only portray something that is actually a part of you, whatever that means, right? So like you can't play something that's not in you, inherently in you. So I have a dork in me. We all have kind of a dork in us, right? We all have like kind of a nerdy person inside of us. We all have a tough guy inside of us. We all have. I always say this to people. It's like, I'm not singular. People be like, well, you do so much. You play guitar. You're an actor. Now you have a podcast. You do stuff with your wife. And I always say I'm multiple. And I don't mean multiple personalities. I just mean I have multiple things that are in me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, Jason Alexander. Weird. Thank you, Jason Alexander.
Oh, Jason Alexander. Yeah, I never met him.
I say this too. Funny. I say this too about dating. Like, when I was in high school, I was like this. I was a jock, but I was this like nice, romantic guy. But if you're too romantic, if you're too nice, women want a bad boy. If you're too much of a bad boy, women want a romantic guy. So you got to be a little bit of both. So I like the fact that you say all those things. Okay, the best compliment I ever got. I was not a big time comedian. I didn't have a passion for it. I
Mhm.
tell people all the time, for me to practice for this show, for me to do my stand-up comedy, if I did 30 minutes, I would practice over and over again. So
Mhm.
let's say just on the day of the show, I practiced my routine 6 times.
Mhm.
That's 3 hours of talking to yourself. So I didn't have a
Yeah.
passion for it. But one of the best
Yeah.
compliments I ever got is I performed at the Laugh Factory in LA.
Mhm.
And like 4 months later, I'm at a bar and this woman comes up to me and she says, is your name Monte Perez? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, you're the funniest guy I've ever met. I go, what are you
See,
talking about? She goes,
that's amazing, man.
it's amazing. She bought me a drink. I thought she wanted to, get together with me, but she's like, let me introduce you to my husband. But it was a great night.
Boner
So,
killer.
yeah, but that
First,
was the
first it
best.
was a boner alert, and then it
That
was a
was the
boner
best.
killer.
That was the best compliment I ever had. And I'll tell you about the worst I've ever
Oh,
felt. What's
I'll
the
tell you
worst
about my
thing?
worst too, because
Yeah.
that's what we remember the most.
Yes.
Go ahead, tell me.
No, you go first. What's your worst
Okay,
thing
so I
someone's
had
ever
been
said to you?
auditioning. I had auditioned for NYPD Blue. You remember that show back in the day, NYPD Blue?
David Caruso loved
David
it.
Caruso. Yeah. Well, I worked with that dude. So anyway,
Hold on. You work with that dude. You didn't like him, obviously.
well, I just thought he was not a very talented actor. But that's beside the point. So, but he made a ton of money, so good for him and
But
kudos
I
to
give
you,
him
man.
credit for one thing. He left. It's like Shelley Long left Cheers to go become a movie actor, a movie star. She didn't
Yeah.
do it. He left to go become a movie star. Didn't happen. He got back with CSI, so he had a second, third life.
Well, I worked with him on CSI Miami, and
Right.
it was I just kept looking at him during our scene, going, "Is that the way you're going to do it?" Like, I don't know. So anyway, but here's my worst thing. So I was auditioning for NYPD Blue. This has nothing to do with CSI Miami, and I was auditioning for it, and it was a big part, and I went in there, and I was so nervous. Now I was young. I was young then, and I was nervous, and I had the pages in my hand, and I was kind of second guessing my choices as an actor. And I was so nervous that I kind of started shaking. And I finally just got through the audition, left Fox. It was at 20th Century Fox Studios. Left, got my car. My agent calls me within like, I don't know, 10 minutes and goes, "What the hell just happened?" I go, "What do you mean?" They're like, the casting director, the casting director just called and said he doesn't ever want you to come in for the show again.
Oh my
You're
God.
one of the worst actors. He doesn't know how you ever got work.
This is your agent? Wait, please tell me.
The casting director told my agent this after I left the audition.
Did you say you're supposed to build me up, not break me down?
No. The casting director told this to my agent after
Right,
I
but
just
your
read.
agent's supposed to lessen the blow.
No, my agent, but my agent, I was friends with him, so he, I like honesty, man.
Right.
I love honesty. Like, be fucking honest with me. And so when he told me that, I was so devastated. I was devastated for like a week, but now I look back on it and I'm like, okay.
By the way, my
this
brother
fucking
makes
guy.
fun of David Caruso because he says
know.
he has the same expression: happy, mad, angry, sad. It's the same look over and over again.
Yeah, I don't know him. Maybe he's a fucking.
I
brute,
love how
you know,
you're
I-
holding back right now.
Yeah.
You want to say what a douchebag he was.
I'm
but
not
you
going to
won't
say
admit
it. I'm not going to say it.
Okay, what's the best audition you ever had, but you didn't get the part? Like
Ellen
something.
DeGeneres. So Ellen DeGeneres' show, she had a half-hour series. This was when it was coming back. Like, she had a sitcom.
I
She
loved
went
her
away from
sitcom,
it.
by the way. It was great.
When she was coming back. I don't know how many seasons they did with that one, but I went in. I read for the entire. It was CBS, I think, and I went in for all of them. So I sat there, met with her. Of course, when I sat down, she was like, "Is your last name Scooby?" So I'm like, "Yes, Ellen, it's Scooby." And she did like a 20-minute stand-up comedy routine on my name in front of all the execs at CBS.
Wasn't
Anyway,
that awkward? Like she was performing.
it is at first, because as an actor, you just want to go in, you want to sit down, you want to do what you've prepared, and you want to get the fuck out of there.
Right.
And she, did this. I don't know if she was trying to like loosen me up, or I don't know what she was doing. But I was all business. Anyway, killed it. The execs were laughing their. I mean, everything. Got a call from my agent. It was phenomenal. They love you. Blah blah blah. About 2 days later, I get a call. So they're gonna go a different way, but they love you, and they'll think about you for something else. And I think the show got canceled not too much later than that.
It's funny because I always use the line from Goodfellas where he says F you, pay me. Like, I don't want to hear I'm great. I don't want to
Yeah.
hear, we really F you,
I know.
pay me, right?
I know. But in this business, you don't get paid until you get the part. You know what I mean?
So
And
was
even
there
then, sometimes it can take a while.
was there ever something that you auditioned for and you didn't get it and you're like, thank God, because that was a disaster. It would have like, you were upset at the time, but afterwards you're like, you know what, this is good karma. It was a disaster.
There are so maybe not auditioned for, but I've also been offered parts in my
That you turned down.
career that I've said I don't know. But yes, there was. I'm not going to name it, but there is something. It was a movie that was supposed to happen, and it did not. And looking back at the people involved, I am so glad that I didn't do it.
Okay, so this is I was doing stand-up comedy, and I used to I work out in the afternoon now. For me, I like working out in the morning because when you come
You're
home,
looking buff
especially
as hell, man. I mean, I'm over here. By the way, I'm not wearing pants right now, and you look good.
Thank you. Listen, I appreciate that. As
You, man.
I have an unblemished record of heterosexuality, but some of the women are
Oh.
loving the fact that you're dropping F-bombs. So I think that and you not wearing pants is turning them on. So, here's my thing. So I used to work out in the morning. Now I work out at night. And I used to work out early in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning when I lived in New Jersey, because I felt like, you know what? It's winter. It's dark. I'm doing more. My thing is, I don't have a lot of talent. I just like to outwork people.
Yeah.
So I invited this couple. This guy was the biggest guy I've ever seen. He used to work out in the morning. He was a bouncer at Bada Bing, where The Sopranos was.
Oh yeah, okay.
And
We're
his
both from Jersey,
girlfriend-
by the way. We both
Yeah.
know Jersey. Yeah.
Yeah. So his girlfriend, they would work out. They were all strippers, perfect bodies, like perfect bodies.
Mhm.
So I invited them to do a stand-up to one of my stand-up shows, comp them. They came. They loved it. So every day, just so happened my workout, I would be using the elliptical cardio, and his girlfriend would always be there next to me, and we'd talk.
Mhm.
This guy was the biggest guy I've ever seen. Steroided out.
Oh,
She
yeah.
was perfect. So one day she says, listen, I know you do stand-up comedy. I know you manage an office. I know you're coaching. You're doing all these things. But if you ever want to make extra money, Steve is looking for bouncers at the Bada Bing. So I'm like, you know
Okay.
what? I've been working my ass off.
Yeah.
He's a monster. She's recognizing how jacked I am. So I'm like, yeah. I was like, you know what? I would be interested. And then she follows it up, Alex. She says, and here's the thing. You don't even need to work out or be muscular. They just need bodies. Now, listen, there's going to come a time where I take HGH. As you get over 40 and I work out, I'm going to take it. I'm not going to be a steroid guy, but I'll take 1 6-week cycle, right?
Yeah.
But like, I take pride in the fact that all my high school and college friends have taken steroids. I haven't, and I
Yeah.
still work out. I ride my bike. But when she said that to me,
Mhm.
Alex, I don't care because she was such a perfect specimen.
You saying this with your makeup on and everything, it makes it funnier. Just so you know. I mean, I'm watching you talk about this, and I'm like, what's going? This is
Alex,
funny. Yeah.
I don't think I could have had sex for like 2 weeks. I felt so emasculated. I didn't even want to, not getting into specifics. I didn't even want to pleasure myself. It
Yeah,
was
you
so
couldn't even
bad.
touch yourself down below
Yes.
because everything just sucked. I get it. I
And
totally
she
get it. By the
goes-
way, I never did steroids either. All my friends, I would say 80% of my friends in Jersey in high school, they all juiced up. I never
But
did.
Alex, you look much more muscular than you did during the King of Queens.
Oh,
you
well,
look
that,
more-
I was big. I had still had a lot of baby fat. I mean, I was only like 24, 25. I mean, I was still kind of a kid, I'm 48 now.
But
I'm
you
I'm
look
a man. I'm an old
you look
man.
more in shape now than you did back then.
That's because I eat better. I work out more. I don't even lift heavy weights, man. I just use body weight. I mean, I do push-ups, I do squat, I do stuff like that, but I don't go for size anymore, man. I'm 48. My
No.
bones don't work. Like my
But
shoulders hurt, my knees hurt. You know what I mean? So
But this was the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. She worked out. I mean, and they were in competition. She wasn't like muscular. She was just like a perfect
no, I
body.
get it. I get
Perfect.
it. Dude, you know what
And
she
when
did? She castrated you.
Yes, and everywhere. You don't. Why do you got to say that to me? Why? Why? You want me like you want me to work there? Why are you emasculating me?
You're the guy that they would use to just like throw into a crowd of people that were rowdy. They'd be like, all right, pick up Monte, chop him. And
Listen,
then just chop, be like midget tossing. Sorry.
this is going to be a Jersey thing. You know, I was benching like 315 back then, squatting 500 pounds. You know, for someone who wasn't taking steroids, I'm still strong, but like, come on, lady, give me some credit. Unbelievable. Okay, Alex, let's talk about Zen AF TV. How do we follow you? How do we support you? When did they come out? You got to get more subscribers. What do we need to do to help you?
Okay, so as far as like YouTube goes, I really don't really care too much about those numbers. But if you visually want to watch the show, there are nuggets in there of animation. We animate pieces of the podcast. That's on YouTube. You can find us at Zen AF TV. That, what you have up on the screen right now, is our website. ZenAF.tv is our website. There's the podcast. We're on, I think, episode 12 drops tomorrow. There's some peen and ween little animations that's, like I said, my side chick. I'm still figuring it out. You got Sleep with Alex Scooby. If you want to fall asleep to my, my deep tones talking about, ridiculous shit. Also, you can follow me on Twitter at Alex_Scooby. Zen as fuck is Zen as F_CK. We're also on Instagram, official Alex Scooby on Instagram.
Alex,
Zen
look at
AF.
these comments from Andrea here.
Violating cats, no pants, touching yourself. What's happening? Oh my God, Andrea, so many things.
Look at this. Look at this.
Pam. Hi, Pam.
Okay, so Alex,
you can find me everywhere, but go check out the website zenaf.tv. There's stuff on there. More content will be coming. You can subscribe by just putting in your email address, and we send out newsletters on what's going on. And of course,
Alex,
YouTube.
I say this to you all the time. You never do it. Put that stuff on my page so my followers can do it. One thing about my Twitter, I'm very active. I'm getting like 1 million hits per month. Let people know what's going on. Anytime you put something on my page or you tweet, everyone comments on it. So
what page are you talking about?
My Twitter page. Tag me and stuff. When you do a show, tag me in it.
It's a lot, Monty. Like I just don't want to do. I want someone else to do this for me. I want to hire someone and say, you fucking do this.
Listen, Alex, I do all the pictures here. I write the questions. I do the screens on the bottom. I do the background, right?
The hell is wrong with you? You're a fucking multimillionaire. You should have people doing this for you.
I am not. That's my whole point. Effing pay me by now. But I said the other day, my sister's like, there's some other website that's coming out. She's like, you got to start doing this. I'm like, I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. I'm on TikTok. How do I just send smoke signals now? Like, how much more? Man, how much more do I have to be in tune?
It's like a migraine headache. All my day is spent either staring at my laptop or my phone, and then I wonder why I start getting headaches. And it's like, oh my God. Listen, man, I just want you to know something. I hope everyone out there appreciates the fact that the Dolphins are going to sacrifice themselves to the Bills in about a half hour.
No, it's going to be bad. Josh Allen is 6-0 against them. I think
Wouldn't it be hilarious if they win? Wouldn't it be hilarious if somehow, some way, Flores pulled his thumbs out of his ass and actually got everything in line?
Alex, final question. Yeah. What are you doing with the Miami Dolphin tray that I gave you?
That is for a charcuterie board. And so I'll put cheeses on it and crackers.
You use it. Okay, so you're all about good karma. You're all about Zen. I sent you a beautiful Miami Dolphins tray that my sister Cynthia makes. Mm-hmm. Do I get a Zen TV cup mug? Are you sending it?
Oh my God. Okay, send me your address. No, seriously, send me your address and I'll send you some paraphernalia.
I love it. All right, Alex. Listen. The only reason I didn't have you on because the Dolphins are 1-6. If they were 6-1, you'd be on every week.
Don't fucking tell me that shit. Look, I'm on here because I'm a personality and you fucking love me and everyone thinks I'm fucking funny, which, by the way, I am.
I can't. By the way, you know what's so funny? Like I watch a ton of YouTube shows, I watch a bunch of stuff. And my whole thing is I never post a picture of me drinking. Right? Because my goal is to be on radio, on TV. And I don't want someone to be like, oh, is he drunk? Whatever. I've never cursed on this show. You've dropped more F-bombs and people are going nuts. They love it.
Here's the thing, man. I'll tell you this right now. So again, if you watch our podcast, Zen AF podcast, We don't give a shit. We say what we want. We talk about what we want. It's not scripted. We just go for it. Two sensitive, good-looking guys who just want to be inside your hearts, your heads, and not
What do
your
you say?
beds because
Look
I
at
am
this.
married. I will buy a T-shirt. Would be great. Yeah, I'm telling you, there's stuff. So as far as the merchandise goes, there will be a lot more coming up. Right now, I think there's just hats and coffee mugs, but I think we're going to do a whole line.
I
So.
definitely want a coffee mug. I'm going
Yeah.
to bring on George Lopez for about a minute because, George, you're sitting there laughing.
George,
I mean, you live in L.A., George. You're going to go see his play. You're going to support Alex, right?
how are you, man?
Oh, definitely. How you doing, Alex?
I'll do
You
good.
put me on after Alex. Just shoot me.
No, man, just have fun. Just be yourself. Hey, you're a Rams fan?
Yeah, since the 70s.
Okay. I dig it, man. So you guys got Stafford now.
Yeah. I
That's
mean,
awesome.
Yeah, doing a lot better with him. But like, see, I tell a lot of people I won't badmouth Jared Goff. He took him to the playoffs 4 out of 5 years.
Went to a Super Bowl.
Went to the Super Bowl, and they were one missed field goal away from going to the playoffs 5 straight years with him. So I'll never
By
badmouth.
the way, the most beautiful stadium is that stadium. That looks
I'm actually going to be there next Sunday for my first time.
Wow.
I'm one of the
So
Rams
the
game
college,
next week.
what's it?
SoFi Stadium.
SoFi.
I want to go there so bad. I'm in Austin,
Yeah,
Texas.
so
right
I
now.
got tickets for the Titan game for me and one of my sons who's smart enough to be a Ram fan. That's gonna be our first time going next week.
Yeah. Well,
Alex,
I am a long time Dolphins fan, and I just
Hey, I went through a decade of watching mediocrity with the Rams when they left LA and the first few years of St. Louis. So I know I feel your pain.
Yeah, no, I definitely, guys.
Alex, final question. So, because people are texting me like crazy about the play, when again does it start?
Okay, so it's called Gaslight House. It is a dramedy, so to speak, but it is full of dysfunction. It starts March 26th, 2022 at the Whitefire Theater in Los Angeles, California. We will run for, I think, 3 months, but most of the plays I do with Howie, we get extensions. So the minimum's like 6 months. And I think we're going to do Friday and Saturday night shows. Don't quote me, but I believe those are the nights we're doing shows.
Okay, Alex, I'm going to say this to you. On in March, I have George, I have my friend Rico, who normally is on the show, George filling in for him. I'm going to come out and I'm going to see your play.
That would be great.
Yeah, I will definitely be there.
So we're going to get a bunch of people to come. You don't have to comp us. You don't have to anything.
No, I will come. No. Let me know, dude. I'll come. Let me know.
We don't. No, we want you to make money. We want people to make money.
I ain't making money on a play, man. I got it. No, there's no money in plays. I do it because I love the art. There's no money in it.
Okay, Alex, love having you on. Even if the Dolphins are 1-10, we're going to have you on in a couple of weeks, no matter what. Do they win today? Guys. Do they win?
They beat Buffalo by 27.
All right. All right, Alex. Thanks so much.
Have a good time.
Alex, wow, George, he's insane.
Oh, my God. Jeez.
I mean, what do you say after that?
Like, I don't know, man. I feel like the first time stand up going after,
like Jerry Seinfeld or someone.
Yeah.
Like George Carlin.
What the heck?
No, he's great. But George, don't sell yourself short. Every time you come on, you bring energy. First, I want to talk about this. USC. Do you go after the Michigan State coach? What do? Who's going to be the USC coach, George?
Well, I've been saying it from day one after they fired Helton. My first preference is James Franklin from Penn State, even though he's lost a couple games this year.
I'd go with I'd go with the guy from Cincinnati before Franklin.
Well, he's going to be in the mix because, SC's athletic director, Baum, he hired Fickle at Cincinnati. So, he's going to be in the mix. But, the thing is, Cincinnati, yeah, they're playing great right now, but it's not a major team in a conference to me. Penn State is in a big conference.
If Luke Fickle can recruit in a state that is dominated by Ohio State and be in the top 5, what can he do in California?
Yeah, but is Luke Fickle getting 5-star players to Cincinnati? Those 5-star players, if they're staying in state, they're going to Ohio State.
Good point.
He's going to get 3 and 4-star players. He's a hell of a coach. He can recruit. And a lot of people in California, they're leaving. We made a comment earlier this season when for Georgia, Alabama, Clemson, the 3 starting quarterbacks at the time, all Southern California kids. Now, JT Daniels was at SC and he transferred after he got hurt, but Bryce Young and the quarterback from Clemson.
Okay, so you want Franklin, right?
He would be my choice. Franklin would be my choice. I think the guy at Michigan State's doing a hell of a job, but this is one season. Can he
Well,
continue it?
but like he's beat Michigan twice.
Yeah, but that's
He's
not
beat
saying
Michigan
much. Harbaugh
twice.
sucks against ranked teams. We already know that.
Okay.
He's
All
3
right.
and 9 against Michigan State and Ohio State. He sucks
Terrible.
against the big games.
Terrible. Okay, so listen, I like him as a manager. A lot of people outside of LA are killing Dave Roberts. They lost to the Atlanta Braves, but George, I'm going to say this. Listen, this has nothing to do with the Dodgers. When you have to play a wild card game, when you have 1 or 2 games where you're using 5 or 6 pitchers in a game, this is not sustainable. So the Dodgers had a fine year. They were injured. This is not Dave Roberts' fault.
Well, I'm going to tell you, there are people in LA that are, killing him as well for his decisions. I think it was a huge mistake to pitch Max Scherzer in the 9th inning of Game 5 against the Giants. He had no business being out there, and we saw
And you
what
tweeted
happened.
that right away. You did. You
Yeah.
tweeted that out right away.
And we saw what happened. His next start, he had a dead arm, and he couldn't go in Game 6. I thought it was a mistake to bring in Julio in relief. Dodger Stadium, I believe it was Game 3, and he just didn't. Or Game 2 in Atlanta. Last year it worked because Julio
he
was
won
mixed.
the World Series, so he's good
He did.
enough to manage. So now everyone is criticizing him. I don't get it.
Well, see, last year in the
He's
World
better than
Series,
Don Mattingly.
he is. But last year in the World Series, he coached from his gut. And you see me throw this out on Twitter a lot. I hate analytics in baseball, and that's what he's doing. Last year,
George, time out for a second. People always say this, I hate analytics. Greg hates analytics, right? But if you have someone who's 1 for 20 against a pitcher and you bring that pitcher in and that guy hits a home run, it's still the right move, George, because you're going against percentages.
But that's not analytics. That's like last year in the World Series when Julio closed it out to beat Tampa Bay. 2 years ago, Roberts would have put in Kenley Jansen to close it out. He went with the hot hand, had nothing to do with analytics. I'm going with a hot hand. This year, he had the bullpen set up. I was fuming, even though they beat the Giants Game 1, I was fuming that he didn't start Julio in Game 5 on normal rest. He went with a starter. Now you lost Knebel later on in the game. That's why Scherzer had to come in, and it bit him in the ass against Atlanta. And all credit to Atlanta. They played a tremendous series, and I'm actually hoping they close it out tonight
Atlanta's so annoying. They're so annoying.
I'm a huge fan of Freddie Freeman. I would love to see him get a ring.
Everyone loves that guy.
Yeah, especially after I saw the story with him and his wife, I became
and
even
not
a
just
bigger
that,
fan.
he talks to every player.
Yeah,
he's just a good dude.
He is, and I hope they close it out tonight. I'm a huge Dusty Baker fan. I would love to see him get a ring one day, just not with the Astros, because I don't want to see them hoist that damn trophy.
Why does Dusty Baker wear wristbands? He's not playing. Why does he do that?
Oh, I don't know. I still try to figure out what he's doing with that toothpick.
So, you want Dave Roberts back? Yes or no?
Yeah, I do want him back. He is a great coach. You think about it, he's won the whole since he's been with the Dodgers. He's had them in the playoffs. They're winning. The players like to play with him. They actually love playing with him. I just question some of his moves when it comes to the pitching staff in the playoffs. But he is a good coach, and he fits in with what the management of the Dodgers want. They want a coach who goes with analytics, even though I don't agree with it. I'm more of an old school kind of guy. But he fits in with what the Dodgers want.
I'm fixing my wig because people are telling me my wig looks off.
Yeah, you look good with hair, money.
All right, George, let's talk about the Lakers. They're struggling. I'm going to say this. I don't know. I get attacked on social media for saying this. Laker fans are attacking me because I say Russell Westbrook should be with Carmelo Anthony. They'll have the best second unit in the NBA. If Russell Westbrook, when they're healthy and they have Kendrick Nunn, when they have Avery Bradley, when they have Trevor Ariza, Russell Westbrook is like the third or fourth option. So put him on the second unit with Carmelo Anthony playing against the other team's 8th, 9th, and 10th player. He's the number one option. Why are they starting Russell Westbrook?
Well, they're starting him because he's a big name, and I'm pretty sure they don't want any type of drama with him if he's coming off the bench. And I agree with you. The problem I see, he's having a hard time meshing with LeBron. When he's off the court, when LeBron is not on the court and Russell Westbrook's on the court, Westbrook looks great. but he's still trying to find that connection, that chemistry with LeBron, and they're struggling with that. Yeah, I think he's better with Carmelo coming off the bench, but we're just not going to see that. I think, right now Vogel likes to bring Rondo off the bench.
Now, George, my dad is very technologically savvy. I give him credit because he's always learning. But I don't know if he's just saying his name here or he's saying hello to you. I don't know what's going on there.
Hello, Mr. Perez. Belated happy birthday.
Yes, he was very happy that you, because he considers you a sports broadcasting star, that on Facebook you said, "Happy birthday, Mr. Perez." He was very happy with that.
I appreciate that.
So he looks at you as like another level. Okay. I had an epiphany this weekend. An epiphany is not, and I could say this, epiphany is not just a Latin girl's name, because I'm Latin. Epiphany that I had this weekend is that the Green Bay Packers are the best team in the NFL. And here's why they're the best team in the NFL. For 7-8 weeks, I've been saying they can't compete with Arizona. They can't compete with Tampa Bay. They can't compete with the Rams because the Rams have 3, 4, 5 wide receivers. The Packers are the best when they're running the ball and not throwing the ball. So I think the Packers right now, they are a physical team, which we've never seen an Aaron Rodgers team be physical. They're better than the Rams. They're better than the Bucs. They're better than the Cardinals. Do you think the Rams are still the best team?
Well, you see my top 10 rankings. I don't have the Rams number 1. I have them in the top 5. I still have some questions about the Rams. Even the move they made this week, I always thought that their weakest element was their linebackers, and they traded one of their starting linebackers, Kenny Young, to Denver, and it didn't make sense.
George, what was that about?
I honestly, I still don't know. They're saying it's clearing salary cap space. Raheem Morris, the defensive coordinator of the Rams, he's raving about Ernest Jones, the rookie, that he's ready to step in.
Raheem Morris has done a good job replacing a guy who was very successful.
You
don't like him?
No, I do like him. It's just obviously the defense isn't the same as last year. This defense is more bend but don't break. They're going to force you to really grind it out to get downfield.
They're not as aggressive as they were.
No, they're not. And they do tighten up inside the red zone. But 20-20, they give up a lot of yardage. And so, it's a little concerning. I'm still concerned about the run defense, because I think you can run on them. And, I know they got Houston this week, and I think it's a trap game because they're going to be looking ahead to Tennessee.
Houston is trading all their players. I said
yeah, but it's a trap game because
Brandon
they got
Cook
Tennessee
will end
next
up
week.
in Green Bay.
That'd be a good pickup for Green Bay if they can get him.
So do you expect the Rams to do anything at the trade deadline?
If anything, I think part of the reasons they got rid of Kenny Young and they restructured Havenstein's contract to create cap space, they're going to look to make a move for a linebacker. A name that throwing out a lot is Miles Jack out of Jacksonville.
That would be a great pickup for them because that dude could go sideline to sideline.
So
he's a UCLA guy, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they do make a move, it's going to be for Miles Jack.
All right, George, as we look at my background here, you have to admit, Oregon is better than we thought, and they should get to the Final Four.
Oregon is doing what Oregon does. And I know, you have issues with their coach, but they are doing what
he wants to run the ball 70 times a game. He should coach Navy or Army.
But if it's not broken, why fix it? Now the problem is the way that things are going, a one-loss Alabama team, even though they lost to an unranked team, is going to get ranked higher than Oregon.
Yeah, but George, right now Oregon is ranked 7th. Okay, Michigan lost.
Michigan will drop. Michigan will drop out of the top 10.
Right, Ohio State is ranked higher than Oregon, but Oregon beat them head-to-head. If they win the Pac-12, there's no way you can't put them in the Final Four.
I agree with you, but we're talking about, the voters. They don't really respect the Pac-12. They'll find a way to.
How are you going to put an Ohio State team in there that Oregon beat?
Because the Pac-12 has no respect. Bottom line, West Coast games. The people back east, how many of them are actually watching?
No one. So I'm the only one who watches in the East.
Yeah. So they beat Ohio State in Ohio.
If they win outright, they're going to the Final Four.
They should, but whether or not that happens, I don't know.
George, you're scaring me here. How come they're ranked 7th right now.
No, I agree with you, but I see what these voters for the college football playoff do, and I'm cynical. I see what they do. I still remember USC during the BCS era, number one in AP, number one in the coach, yet they're not in the championship game. What kind of BS was that?
All
So,
right, all right.
I
Okay,
agree with you.
George.
They should get in if they went out, but it's not going to surprise me if they don't.
But Greg, you could say whatever you want about the strength of schedule.
Oregon
Oregon
beat
beat
them
Ohio State, and they
in
beat them at
Ohio.
Ohio State.
Yeah, they beat them at the shoe. That should have more merit than they're giving it.
I disagree with Greg 95% of the time. I'm just letting you know right now. I know
Yeah,
you agree.
my brother in anger. I think this time I actually disagree with him. Normally, him
And
and
I will say this. Because Jared presented the same argument with me. He goes, Trey Young is nothing now because he can't be bailed out. He shot 6.9 free throws last year. This year he's shooting 4.2. I said, Trey Young averaged 25.2 points a game last year. He's averaging 24 now. It's not affecting him. He's fine. The guy led the nation in scoring as a freshman at Oklahoma.
No, the one that's new rules affected is Harden. Thank God.
Yeah.
I can't stand that idiot.
Yeah. All right, George, you're subbing in for Rico. Big shoes to fill. Let's get right to it. No Calvin Ridley. I still say if you have Kyle Pitts, you got to start him. Carolina Panthers 3-4 at the 3-3 Falcons. Falcons are a 3-point favorite. I think Carolina comes back and wins this one.
I have to disagree with you. Sam Darnold has become Sam Darnold of the Jets lately.
Yeah.
That 3-0 start, great start. Dallas exposed that defense, and they haven't been the same since. I actually like Atlanta in this game.
Wow. Really?
Yeah, I do like it. Even with Calvin
I will
Ridley
say
out,
this. Losing Christian McCaffrey hurts.
it hurts.
He's
I think
75% of their offense, George.
And I think that's where, Sam, you can't put the whole offense on Sam Darnold. He's more of a game manager now. That's what I see him as. If McCaffrey's playing, I take Carolina in a heartbeat over Atlanta. But without him, try to have Sam Darnold, win the game for you. I don't see it happening. I think Matt Ryan's going to have a good game, even though Calvin Ridley's not going to be playing today.
Atlanta's better. Atlanta has gotten better every week.
They have gotten better every week, and I expect Kyle Pitts to have a huge game today.
So what's your score with this one?
This one, I have it going 24-13 Atlanta.
Wow, so you don't even think it's going to be competitive?
No, I don't. I think Sam Darnold is going to throw at least 2 picks today.
Wow. Okay, so you're taking Atlanta and the points. All right, the next game we have right here is – well, no, that's not the next game. Pittsburgh versus Cleveland, the 3.5-point favorite. I don't like the 0.5, George, at all. If it was 3, I maybe take the Browns here. Baker Mayfield's coming off an injury. He's not good. I don't care what my friend Brad Ward says. Who do you like in this game?
I went back and forth on this one when you gave it to me, and if I read it right, Ben Roethlisberger in the regular season is 21-2-1 against Cleveland.
Yeah, over the last 24 games. Yeah,
last 24 games. Dominant. Yeah, he's dominant, but I don't know,
George, why do I feel you're leaning towards the Browns?
I am. They're getting Nick Chubb back today, so I think that's going to be huge. I still question Mayfield playing. I don't want anyone to, be cheap shotted or, get injured. But if I'm Pittsburgh, I'm going after that shoulder.
They have a backup who's capable. Why rush him back?
I agree. Yeah, I agree. And I still think they're going to really lean on Nick Chubb today. The question is going to be, what defense are we going to see from Cleveland? The defense we saw against the Chargers when they just basically disappeared, or the defense that we saw against Denver? Now, granted, Denver's offense isn't that good. I know Roethlisberger really didn't practice that much this week, so I know he's dealing with a little bit of nagging injuries.
So give us your score here.
This one, I think it's going to be a slugfest. I got it 2017 Cleveland. So I would actually, because of the 0.5,
taking the Steelers to cover.
I would take the Steelers to cover. Yeah,
okay.
But I'm taking Cleveland straight up.
Okay, Dallas 5-1 at the Vikings. I think I'm the only one outside of Marie in Minnesota who think the Vikings are going to win this game.
I think it depends on Dak Prescott. I know he's a game time decision, but Dallas's defense, I think, is really underrated. They've been surprising me this year. Minnesota,
they're super fast.
Very fast, very quick. A lot of credit to Coach Quinn, what he's done with that defense. Parsons is really impressing me for his rookie year. This one again, if Prescott plays, I take Dallas in a heartbeat. And Viking fans, Amory, I know you're going to hate this. If it comes down to a field goal, you're in trouble.
All their
I'm
games come
sorry.
down to a field goal.
Yeah, I know. I'm actually, even though if Prescott doesn't play, I'm still going to take Dallas in this game. I think their defense can contain Dalvin Cook and hold up.
Wow, so you're taking Dallas.
I'm taking Dallas. I think their
On
offense on the road. I think their offense is just loaded right now with that double, the two-headed monster in the running game with Pollard and Zeke Elliott. Yeah, I'm taking Dallas in this one.
George, you're taking 2 road teams to cover.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I know.
All right, so you're saying Dallas wins outright to cover. You're saying Atlanta wins outright to cover. And you like the Browns winning, but the Steelers cover the spread.
I like Pittsburgh covering the spread.
Okay. All right. Another big shoes to fill. Actually, it's not really big shoes to fill because I've beaten Rico like a drum the last 2 years. So we're doing fantasy.
You and I are going head up on nuts and bolts today.
I know we are. We are. Yes. And you're going to lose. So we'll talk off. We'll talk off camera if you want to bet $20. Well, we'll talk on camera. If you want to bet $20, I think you've lost 5 straight games. To me, if you want to bet $20 on that, I'll be more than happy to take.
I'll do the bets. All my losses with you have been college football, so
that is true. Okay, so we have a witness here. Someone in the comment section, just please say witness. So we have a witness here. $20 bet between me and George and Nuts and Bolts Sports. Okay, I get the first pick in the draft here. I'm taking Josh Allen because he has averaged over 300 yards. They've scored 32 points. Thank you, Greg, for the witness. They've scored 30 or more points in 6 straight games against the Dolphins. I'm taking Josh Allen.
Yeah, that was a no-brainer. Yeah. I have 2, so I flipped the coin on it. I'm taking Joe Burrow against your Jets.
That's a good pick because I think he's going to have over 300 yards, at least 3 touchdowns. Okay, who's your first running back?
My first running back, Jonathan Taylor.
Oh, you son of a... You know what's... I have the Colts winning that game. Jonathan Taylor has averaged over 100 yards in his last 4 games, and Tennessee is giving up 6 yards per play, the highest. Okay, so you're taking Jonathan Taylor. Damn, George, that's some good strategy. All right, I'm going to have to go with Derrick Henry.
Yeah, it was between him or Taylor for my first pick.
That's a good pick. Who are you taking next?
My second one, okay, I have 2 here. James Robinson against Seattle.
Very good pick. Seattle's defense is terrible. I actually have the Jacksonville Jaguars winning and the Detroit Lions winning.
I took Detroit straight up, and I flipped the coin on that Seattle game, so I went with Seattle only because it's in Seattle.
I'm taking Kamara just because he's 70% of their offense. So wide receivers, I'm going to double up here. I'm going to take Stephon Diggs as my first pick to double up with Josh Allen.
Yeah, I'm going to double up here with Burrow. I'm taking Jamar Chase.
Nice. I'm going to go with Cooper Kupp because I think he's good. How good has Cooper Kupp been, George?
Cooper Kupp has been, oh my God, he's been better than – we know what he's capable of when he's healthy. And
you look miserable right now, not that I took Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, that was I actually was going to go first with him, but I said, let me grab Jamar Chase. Now you got me reeling. Who am I going to take as my second receiver today?
George, someone's saying good luck, George. Bomb Club 1.
Oh, yeah. See, I don't know. What did you do to the people who watch your show, man? They're turning against you.
People always turn against me. People want me to fail. But I'm 64-23 picking games, so I will not fail.
All right, now you got me thinking. That's why I'm looking it up.
Did you have Cooper Kupp as your guy?
I had Cooper Kupp, yeah. Yeah, it was Cooper Kupp and Jamar Chase. I figured you might have grabbed us, but I want to get Chase, especially against the Jets.
Listen, you could go with Mike Williams from the Chargers. You could do Deebo Samuel.
That's right. Yeah, Mike Williams is in my fantasy.
You could go with Moore. You go Mike Evans.
No, DJ Moore's not going to do squat today. I'm going to go Mike Williams with the Chargers.
Mike Williams. Okay. And who's your tight end?
Kyle Pitts.
All right. I'm going to have to go with Kelsey because they're playing the Giants and I think they win that game. All right, George, how can we follow? How can we support you? Really, thank you so much you had big shoes to fill, but you didn't hit a home run, you hit a triple. And that's all we asked people to hit a single. You got a triple.
Yeah, I knew it was big shoes to fill for Rico.
Look at this.
Hey, my brother in anger. Yeah,
Wow.
I know it's big shoes to fill, and I hope I did Rico proud, stepping in for him today, and I hope
Forget
he's
about
having a
Rico.
good,
You did the
yeah,
fans and me proud. Forget about
yeah.
Rico.
I hope he's having a great time with his family at Disneyland today. I mean, it's a
George,
little
I'm gonna go
overcast right
out
now.
there for Alex's play, so we're gonna get together when I go out there.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. I love that. I've been, I might hopefully in the summer, depending. If my son gets the same invite, I might be in Florida next summer for a baseball event. We passed on
I'm
it this
probably
year.
moving out of Florida, just so you
Oh,
know.
okay.
But we'll get together because I'm gonna go out there in March. Maybe I'll bring my friend Andrea. We'll have a good time.
Oh yeah, and Andrew, I'll give you some LA Rams stuff after how we destroyed the Bears.
She said to me, I know George is going to say something. I know George is going to say something. And I keep telling her, all you have to say is at least my team won a Super Bowl in my city, Chicago. The Rams
She
never
did that
have.
one. She's already thrown that at me, so I had to swallow that one. But I wasn't gonna say anything, and she brought her up. Because I know she agreed with me earlier. I saw one of the posts, so I'm like, oh, she agreed with me. I'm like, okay, but
No, she
I've actually,
said, she goes, I know George is going to talk trash about the Rams.
well, I haven't brought up the Clippers yet.
All right, George,
And they're struggling right now. So
George, we got a minute left.
okay.
Who's your top five in the NFL right now?
Right now, the NFL after Thursday's game, I gotta go in no particular order: Green Bay, Buffalo, the Rams, Tampa Bay, and I still have Arizona in my top five, even though Green Bay destroyed them.
Look, George.
Yeah, I expected that, Andrew. I expected that. Well deserved.
All right, George, how can we follow and support you?
Well, right now, I'm on Twitter. You see my handle right here, the other G Lopez. And I'll have some articles coming up pretty soon with Nuts and Bolts Sports. So obviously, I'll tag you on that Monte as well, so you can get it out there to your followers.
All right.
And same on Instagram.
Good.
It's the same handle on Instagram, the other G Lopez.
I'm terrible on Instagram. I'm terrible on Facebook. I'm just on Twitter, and I'm trying to build my TikTok.
Actually, a friend of mine told me she saw you on TikTok.
Really?
She said, she goes, I recognize because she watches the show when I come on from time to time. She goes,
why didn't she watch it when you're not on? That's the question I would have.
She's not a huge sports guy or sports person, so
Okay.
she'll come on. I saw him like, oh my god, that's the guy George's show. He goes on. So
Yeah,
it caught her off guard.
We're starting to get momentum. We're starting to get popular. I'm gonna have Ron Pitts on tomorrow. Gus Farrat's gonna be on, and guests like you, guests like Alex. You just really make the show better. So there's always a place for you wherever I land up. So I really appreciate the time. Keep pumping out those articles on Nuts and Bolts Sports.
No, thank you, Monte. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
You did a great job, George. Great job. All right. I want to thank you. I want to thank the fans. I want to thank John Meyer. I want to thank Alex Scooby. I want to thank George Lopez. And we're running late. I got to put it in my fantasy lineup. So we're not going to do a look at my costume. It's so bad. We're not going to do a extra point here. In the immortal words of Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. Happy Halloween, everyone.